NFL fans, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show. Today we're going to be doing a 7-round mock draft for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Steeler? Is he not going to be a Steeler? I don't really think that impacts their draft at all whatsoever. Could they pick Shedeur Sanders if he falls to them at 21? That's very, very interesting. Or could they go in the second or third round, maybe a guy like Jackson Dart if he doesn't go in the first round? That could be interesting as well. I definitely want to upgrade the D-line in this draft for the Steelers as well. Cornerback, I definitely think is a need, even though they did bring in Darius Slay for a one-year deal, but he's going to be one and done. So we need some cornerback depth for years going forward. And we also brought in a great trade from Seattle, DK Metcalf. Pair him up with George Pickens, and we have a very formidable 1-2 punch at the wide receiver position for the Steelers, no matter who the quarterback is. All right, guys, let's get into a 7-round mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into this 7-round mock draft for the Steelers. But first, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us get into YouTube's algorithm, right? Here's how the board played out. 21 overall, Luther Burden's on the board. Josh Simmons, very, very interesting player. Dealt with some injuries last year, pretty serious knee injury. I don't know if you bring in a guy like that coming off that injury. Ibuka's on the board. I love Ibuka. He could play inside or outside, but that's not really a big need for the Steelers right now. Kelvin Banks I like. Some of these guys I really, really like at this spot are Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. He's got great size, 89 overall grade, excellent at defending the run. He's got great size for a 3-4 scheme. You know, Terrell Austin's scheme, he could be very, very interesting on the D line. You know, he's not big enough to play nose, but one of those DN spots, he could look great, right? He's not athletic enough to play outside linebacker, but he could really, really set an edge at this size. 6'3", 305. Some of the trends, Vikings, Bengals, Chiefs. You know, he's just got a great frame for this scheme, in my opinion. He's got quick get-off. He's just one of my favorite players in this draft class. And, guys, Omarion Hampton being on the board from UNC could be interesting for the Steelers, man. It could be very, very interesting. One of my favorite players in this draft class. Great size, excellent speed, 6'1", 220. Ran great times at the combine, especially at 220 pounds, man. He's very, very, very talented guy. I just got done watching some Darius Alexander tape. He is a lot older, right? He's going to be, 25 in August. So I don't think the Steelers go this route, but he's really difficult to deal with. He's got like 34-inch arms, 6'4", 310 pounds. He's really hard to deal with, man. He's able to get his arms underneath pads, kind of make first contact when the ball gets snapped. Very interesting player. I like him as well. But for me, when I'm looking at all these guys available, it's between Nolan and Omarion Hampton. And I do think in the second round, third round, there's still going to be really good running backs available. A guy like Walter Nolan is not going to be available, man. They need D-line help desperately, in my opinion, when you look at this depth chart. I think Walter Nolan fits great in that 3-4 scheme, edge guy. I think he works really, really well. You have TJ Watt on the outside linebacker edge, and then playing one guy inside, Walter Nolan coming at you, man. Woo! Baby, I really, really like that. All right. Now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you're on the board. Round 3. Pick number 19, right? No second round pick, unfortunately, for the Steelers, right? So let's take a look. Jalen Noel, wide receiver, I really, really like. Let's take a look at these running backs, man. Looks like a lot of them went early. Damian Martinez, he's kind of that road grader guy. Similar, you know, maybe not as athletic as James Conner, but 6 foot, 230 pounds. He's only 21 years of age, and the numbers are just there, man. The numbers are there. 91 overall grade, 1,000-yard seasons in back-to-back years. You know, 19 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. Not really a guy in the run game too much. So let's check out cornerback as well. That's definitely a position of need for us right now as I'm looking at this roster, right? There are some. Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech, a guy I really like. Pretty solid guy. Kobe Bryant and Melo Johnson. Bryant's like really thin, right? So I don't, 175. I'm not doing that. I don't think he fits the frame. But Bishal Tutin is a very interesting running back for sure. I'm taking a look at all these guys left on the board. The board didn't play out great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't have a ton of picks. A 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7, right? So not a crap load of picks, but we got to make them count. So I think bringing in a running back definitely makes some sense. Savion Williams, the wide receiver, that's interesting. Safety, Andrew Makuba, that is interesting as well. A safety I really, really like in this draft class. Well, Makuba, man, he might be the guy. Him and Ransom are both available right now. Ransom is an excellent run defender, 93 overall grade. Good tackler, 6'1", 210 pounds. Makuba, he's excellent in coverage, right? So missed tackle rate's a little bit high at 14%. Let's take a look at Ransom. He's at 15%. So these guys definitely have their flaws, right? Their ability to miss tackles, not great. DJ Giddens from Kansas State, a guy I like. Had 2 really good years, 2022 and 2023. Definitely came back down to earth PFF rating-wise, but the production, 1,300 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. Not a lot of guys are talking about him, but he's an excellent player, man. I think that could be a very interesting spot for us here, man. Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State is on the board. So, listen, he got hurt in 2024, so you got to throw that out. 2023, one of the best safeties in the entire country. A lot of safeties left on the board. It could be a run on those guys in the third round here. We're picking at 83 and 123. It's a tough spot to pick, man. But bringing in a running back or a quarterback makes some sense here. Will Howard is available here. Jackson Dart in the third round. He's available. For me, Steelers fans, we need a quarterback. Jackson Dart. He could go in the first round, but in this particular AI-generated draft, I didn't do these other picks, so don't come at me. Dart's available, so I'm taking him at pick 83 overall. No-brainer. So we got our D lineman. We got our quarterback. Ole Miss, back-to-back. All right, now, we're up in the fourth round, pick 21, pretty much in the middle of this fourth round. Taking a look at who's available for us. Jaden Blue from Texas, he's available. A running back here could make some sense. Bishal Tutin is still available. He ran like the wind at the combine, over 6 yards per carry, 15 tutties. Tutin goes to the Steelers at 123 overall. So we got interior defensive lineman. We got our quarterback. We got a running back. Cornerback is definitely a position I want to bring some depth to for sure. Definitely want to look at the cornerback, right? So we got our quarterback. We got a running back. Bringing in a tackle later in this draft, but a guy I really, really like. I mocked him to a bunch of people later in drafts because O'Donnell Fortune is a very talented guy from the Gamecocks. 86 overall grade. Excellent coverage guy. Amazing man and zone coverage. He's not a great run defender, but I don't give a shit about that. In a 3-4 scheme, you don't really need a guy on the outside necessarily coming up and stopping the run. That's what your strong safety's for. That's what those outside linebackers are for. That's what those off-ball linebackers are for. 6'1", 185. I want to see him add a little bit of size, but at over 6'1", I like his length. He's got top-tier press man ability, and that's a huge deal in a 3-4 scheme, in my opinion. Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we're up in the 6th round. 2 more picks to go. I think this draft's working out pretty well for us. We got a quarterback, top 3 guy in this draft class, in my opinion, Jackson Dart, Walter Nolan, Bishal Tutin, fastest guy at the combine, O'Donnell Fortune, and good cornerback in round 5. Now, we're drafting at 185 overall. A guy I really like, kind of flying under the radar a little bit, is a safety in this draft class, Malachi Moore. One of my favorite players in this whole draft class, to be honest. He already came in for some meetings with the Eagles, so he's a highly regarded guy. Coverage grade 89. Excellent run defender. I mean, late in the 6th round. This guy's going to be a freaking steal, man. 185 overall. Now, we're up 229 overall. This is kind of a best player on the board. You know, I want to look offensive line. You always just want to bring in trench guys that you can control. Whether it's tackle, interior, offensive line. I do think once they're healthy, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line can be a formidable group. Are they going to be an excellent group? Probably not, but they're going to be an adequate group in my opinion. Holland Pierce from Rutgers, 6'8", 344. This dude's a freaking monster, man. If you could teach him how to pass block, yo, this dude is a savage, man. Look at that size. 6'8", 344. Come on. Come on. 6'8". Maybe that's a little too big, man. Truce from Georgia is on the board as well. And some of these guards, Tim McKee was pretty decent. I did like Marcus Ware from Montana State, but again, small school, right? Does that translate to the next level? I'm not sure. 6'4", 300 pounds. I like that, but I'd rather take a flyer on Holland Pierce. Monster tackle from Rutgers. 6'8", 340 plus pounds. I like taking a flyer on a guy like that for sure. I think this draft worked out really well for the Steelers, man. We got a quarterback that we desperately need. Getting Dart at 83 overall, getting a B- grade is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. We got a cornerback to add to that room. Get to learn from a guy like Darius Slay, bringing in some youth there. Walter Nolan. They need defensive line desperately. C+ grade. That's idiotic. Take these PFF grades with a grain of salt. But if you walk away with a top-tier running back, fastest guy at the combine, Jackson Dart, Walter Nolan. A lot of people are saying Jackson Dart could go as high as 7 to the Jets, right? Maybe even at the Saints at 9, falling to us in the 3rd round. I love that pick. Walter Nolan, yo, he's one of the best defensive linemen in this whole draft class. I love Malachi Moore, 89 overall grade this past year from Alabama. At 185 overall, gets a D- grade. Give me a break. But Holland Pierce, they did like that pick. B+ overall grade. I think the needs on PFF have not been updated to what they actually need when you look at this roster, right? But I like it. Steelers fans, let me know in the comments below. Do you like this draft? Do you not like this draft? And who would you take in the 1st round if the board fell like this to you? I would love to know. No 2nd round pick. It's a bit of a bummer, but we got DK Metcalf, so that's not a bummer. I like that. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.